All right, guys, welcome to our second game between Legacy Esports and Avant. Legacy Esports took out game one in a very dominating fashion. Can they replicate that success in game number two? We'll have to take a look and see in this game. But first, before we get to that, it is, of course, time for the picks and bans. Andy, we saw last time the Erlang Shen dominated the solo lane for Legacy Esports. Do you think that's something Avant needs to ban out?
If they're not going to ban it out, they need to either pick it up or pick something different into it. They need to make something that can handle the Erlang Shen, because Raven doesn't have a particularly good matchup against it. Yes, Raven can do well in the early game by poking people out, but Erlang Shen, he can poke people out with basic attacks even harder. Something with range, something with a bit of distance between the Erlang Shen and themselves would do very well. And the bans are still about to come out.
Yeah, so I'm looking for I don't know. I'm looking for like the Janus pick as well last time really didn't do it for me for Avant-Garde. Like I can understand where they were trying to go with it with the Thor and Janus combination, but it just didn't work out at all. Uh, Neither of them, like the Thor got one or two nice engagements, but the fights were turned before the Janus could get online and do enough of the damage. I want something out of that mid lane that does a bit more burst damage earlier in the game than the Janus. Freya banned away from Avant-Garde, and now Susano banned away by Legacy Esports.
You said it yourself just then, damage from the mid lane. That was a bit of an issue from the last game. Going into the cooldown boots could have been a major factor into that, because that 10 penetration you get from the shoes in the match out early is no laughing matter. That gives you a lot of damage onto the enemy mid laners, the enemy jungle. Not so much onto the enemy support, but it will allow you a better kill potential. Bans coming out so far, Susano, Nemesis, Freya, and the Terra all banned away. Option back over to Avant-Garde. Do they pick up Erlang Shen? They're going to pick up Raijin instead. And it's a good pick, 100% win ratio so far. Did extremely well and had a very controlling game against them last time.
Yeah, can't argue with the numbers there. We saw last game, Agony played it, did a lot of damage with it. It's a lot of burst damage, a lot of early mid burst damage as well. So, can't argue with it. Erlang Shen and Ratatoska picked up the first time we see the squirrel of the Tree of Life being picked up here for Legacy Esports. It really makes sense, given their logo, that they pick up the squirrel that jumps on the giant tree.
From branch to branch, then comes slamming down and destroys everything in the early game. It's a nightmare to face. And Raijin with his Thunder Crash, who is safe, still isn't safe against this Ratatasker. And you can see why the Hombat is being picked up. Just that disengage potential and that re-engage potential from that Fear No Evil. And the slow coming out from the Somersault means that Ratatasker has to be careful about his engages. Get picked up for Avant-Garde as their support, and Sylvanas taken up. So neither team elected to pick up that Fafnir.
I was going to say before, all they need really to hit the whole legacy look is they needed Sylvanas, and they pick it up. These guys, I feel like the org is exerting some pressure here onto the players' picks. Um, Sylvanas, though, in all seriousness, provides a lot of sustain for his team, provides a decent amount of CC as well. He's got a root, he's got a pull, and he's got, of course, a tremendous knockup in his ultimate. Odin banned away by Legacy Esports here. The Geb as well is one of Gruff's favorite and best performing gods as well. It's got a 100% win rate thus far in the OPL. The shield from that helps a lot with CC and damage coming in from Legacy Esports. It's got a great engagement tool with the Cataclysm. It's even a bit of a disengagement tool as well. He's got a knock up. He's the perfect support, and he's been described definitely as the best late game support in the game. Soul banned away by Guard, and now Neath banned away by Legacy Esports.
Option back over to Avant-Garde for their final one. It's going to be the Vulcan taken off the table. A very low ban percentage of 11%. Hasn't been picked up too much either, but just denying the second best mid laner in the game right now to the side of Legacy. You'd have to make it something different, like maybe an Agni could do very well for this team. A bit of mid-game damage and CC lockdown potential. The Honor is going to be picked up for that very early high-pressure duel in the Sylvanas Honor. And the Geb's going to have to put up a lot of work to make sure that this Honor doesn't get too far ahead. Jingwei and Bologna taken up for Avant-Garde. The Bologna going up to the Erlang Shen has a better matchup, a bit more distance poke ability from the Bologna. And Erlang Shen, if he goes in with his basic attacks, goes in with that spot weakness, Bologna has that Scourge for the disarm to make sure that that ability is less effective.
Exactly right, and it also will work against the Anher with his being basic attack oriented as he is. He's got a lot of damage coming out of the bludgeon as well. Agni, the final pick from Legacy, as you suggested previously. I do like the Jingwei pick up here from Avant-Garde, one of Rob Diggity's more comfortable selections. Actually puts out a surprising amount of lane pressure herself, which they'll definitely need for Avant-Garde up against an Anher and a Sylvanas. So I like that pickup. One of the things as well about Jingwei that's a little bit underappreciated is the persistent gust. It's actually quite a useful zoning tool. You can see here, she's standing next to the left-hand side mid camps. You can pretty much fill up the entire passageway through the mid camps with that persistent gust, and so it can prevent people from coming through. You can see good gripping here from Legacy, 3-man gripping from Avant Garde. Possible early engagement here, but both teams choosing to walk away instead.
But you're just making sure their supports get a ward down safely and get out so they can go back to base, buy potions, buy their relics, and get to the camps before they even spawn. And going on to these Geb and Sylvanas picks, when usually you see Fafnir's, Terras, maybe even Bacchus's, with the addition of the new tank boots, I honestly feel like the meta's starting to transition away from the early game supports and more towards these mid-game supports, where you have to be a bit more supportive, we have to be a bit more resilient than your aggressive supports like Bacchus or your gods like Terra. So Sylvanas, Geb, those are going to be two high value picks if the meta does transition into that state.
Minions have spawned.
Alrighty, we're in game now. See, from Weave, very early blink picked up here. I like that. It's very much saying to me that Legacy is going to be looking for some of these early engages, pre-level 12 engages, onto Avant Garde. And the knock-up is one of those abilities that you can't immune when you're up in the knock-up. You have to either do it beforehand, or you're not going to do it at all. And it works really well with the Agni. You know, particularly people that have watched the console leagues know that Circle's the king there. And I think it's starting to influence the PC meta a little bit, or it's starting to come back into flavor in the PC meta a little bit. That a big area of effectabilities are very effective, for lack of a better term. And an Agni-Sylvanas combination is very potent indeed.
So getting the pressure over on that solo lane is Avant Garde. They're going to be rewarded with these fire elementals. And on these right-hand side harpies as well. Still yet to make his rotation-ish red, just getting out of that solo lane now. So El Chuckle's going to have a bit more experience, going to have a bit of a better time in lane against this Erlong Shen, given that he's got those fire elementals.
Yep, they're focusing. Their last game, El Chuckles was put behind. This game, they're saying, not going to happen. We need El Chuckles, we need him online, we need him rotating, and we need him doing damage.
They're going to be doing just that to only go to solo right now, just a blood. There's no way for Erlong Shen to immune that bludgeon. Yes, he can knock up with the turtle form, but that's going to stop him getting a massive engage potential. It's going to stop him using it for a disengage as well, because he has to use it for the knockup and then fight the Bologna in that bludgeon stance. And it's a good matchup for El Chuckles this time, and one that he can really start to abuse.
All right, Pause here coming out of the side of Legacy, taking a look at the kind of starts we're seeing from both of these teams. So the Bologna and the Erlang Shen both gone into the Death Toll, which you would expect. A smart move there from both of them. The Bluestone Pendant, you could possibly see it on the Bologna, but realistically, you're going to be getting off more of your damage through basic attacks than you are through your bludgeon anyway. And the sustain I find on Death Toll is better, obviously, than the Bluestone, but the trade-off as well, you know, you get a little bit more damage on the Bluestone, you get the tick damage afterwards as well. The Death Toll just provides too much, really, for the Bluestone to be worth it.
Well, it depends. Are you going to be going up against somebody you can effectively bully? Are you going to be going up against somebody you're okay taking a bit of poke from because you can heal it back up with your Scourge? And if the answer to those questions is yes, Bluestone's going to be the superior choice. But most of the time in the solo lane right now, you're going to be going up against somebody who can poke you back effectively, like an Erlang Shen, like a Ravana, like a Tia. And you can't really get Bluestone against those gods unless you are a Bluestone carrier yourself.
Then pause here from the start of Legacy. Shred has DC'd. Hopefully we'll get him back in time for the remainder of this game. It's just barely started, so this is definitely unfortunate for Legacy OCE. Looking towards the mid lane as well, Agni's picked himself up an Imperial Helmet, so some early physical protections to deal with the pressure coming out from that Hunbats of Liquid Renegade out of the jungle. Conversely, iDivine for the second game in a row has gone for a Tiny Trinket start.
And the Tiny Trinket start, it works better on a Raichu than it does on a Yanis. Yanis doesn't really benefit too much from lifesteal, doesn't benefit too much from the power you get from those items. Really wants to go in for a lot of mana and a lot of damage coming out from item abilities. And looks like Shred's DC is going to be lasting a bit too long here. And the Force One pause. 4 versus 5 right now for Avant Garde. This is a power play which they need to abuse.
Yeah, so what's happened here is that teams are allowed 9 minutes worth of pauses, and Legacy used all of that and were forced to unpause and play on 4v5. We've seen this before in the SPL. Fortunately for Legacy OCE, it comes in a critical matchup against Avant Garde. So Legacy are going to have to deal with this 4v5 situation as best as they can.
And to make matters even worse, it's happened to Shred, who's a predominantly early game jungler on this Ratatasker. And if you're going to be behind significantly this early game because of a DC, it really just means that your influence on the match is going to be that much lower. And if you were on something like a Kali, or something like a Thor, or something like a Naja, who would either be very fantastic in the late game, or didn't really need levels to do what they needed to do in terms of CC, then it would be fine. He could be TC'd for the entire game, come back as level 2 against level 20s, and still do what he needed to do in terms of CC. But he's on a Ratatasker who you pick for damage.
Alright, Andy, if you're Legacy Esports, you're sitting there, 4v5, Shreds DC, can't get back into the game, what are you doing now to ensure that you don't fall too far behind?
Play passively, make sure that I'm only engaging on fights I know I can take, and I know that there's going to be no rotations for my guard coming out for. Defend the buffs as best as possible to make sure that when Shred comes back, he's got as much farm on the map as possible for him to get himself back into the game.
That's kind of the only positive point for Legacy is that Shred fell down at the time where all the buffs were down. There wasn't too much Avant could immediately go out and steal. However, it's been long enough since that pause that the speed buff has respawned. Blue's buff will be respawning soon. Red buff has respawned. You can actually see Legacy going to be able to take away their own red buff here. They're going to give that one actually to HS here to, I guess, get some early pressure in the duo lane.
Oh yeah, HS247 is playing an Anhu who gets 20 physical penetration on his basic attacks, and can really start to bully out a Jingwei, because there's the only knockup that HS247 has is on that Disperse, but only going to solo under a lot of pressure here, and out comes the Fino Evil, as well as the Tiger Drums, and also the Eagles rally. 3 ultimates expended, and our Chuckles gets his revenge from last game with the first blood this game.
So that's effectively given the entire right-hand side of the map over to Avant Garde for the next little bit of the future, because there's no solo laner there at all to contest the buffs. We can see Avant Garde have already stripped them away, and now they're getting pressure down onto his tower. So Avant Garde own the right-hand side of the map at the moment.
And nearly dying in the mid lane though is Divine. Agony and Weave combining very well though with her ultimate abilities, but Geb shields, they are ridiculously overpowered.
Cooldown boots again, chosen here for Divine. So wanting to get some more abilities off more often. The cooldown boots aren't that bad of an option. You don't like it.
I just don't like it on a god that you get the burst like Raijin. On Janus, I can see the benefit of them. You're a supportive style mid laner. You want those cooldowns to be up to portal people around the map more often. But you're Raijin. You're there for damage. Your Raiju does 800 damage for free. Your Thunder Crash will do about 700, 600 damage for free. You want to have penetration online to make sure you do as much damage as possible. The cooldown boots, not going to offer you that.
Right-hand side, El Chuckle's forced to ult away from Only Good at Solo, who, despite being two levels down at the start of that fight, has efficiently pushed El Chuckles underneath his own tower, and he's got a huge minion wave here, dealing some damage to the tower, and Chuckles loses out on a little bit of gold there.
He's going to lose on the fire elementals as Only Good at Solo gets pressure back for himself in that duel, in that solo lane. He's still a bit behind thanks to the first blood gold onto El Chuckles, and the fact that he missed out a couple waves of experience because of the death, but Liquid Renegade over on his left-hand side, getting a gank on HS247, Weave nowhere to be found, and Shred is still nowhere to be seen.
But left-hand side gets some pressure on it, right-hand side got some pressure on it. Avant Garde rotating around this map very efficiently, taking full advantage of the lack of a jungler for Legacy Esports. Gold Fury at 50% HP here. Gruff zoning out Agony and Weave as best as he can. The Wrath comes through for Avant, and they take an early Gold Fury, much like the last game, but this time without having to pay a penalty for it.
Shred was the only person on the side of Legacy with a Wrath, and with him DC, it's 3 objectives galore here for the side of Avant Garde. We've already forced to use the Wrath of Terror. HS247 coming in with the Desert Fury and the one over the wall. That's going to be a kill for HS247, but he could be trading his own life for it.
Surprised Gruff didn't Stone Shield there. Maybe he didn't have it online. Agony up here by Rob Diggity, but he manages to dash away. But yeah, I'm surprised Gruff didn't Stone Shield there. Could have potentially saved Liquid if he had it up. It might have been on cooldown, rather than looking for the engage with the back foot. But return kill for Legacy is very valuable at this stage of the game. Any kind of extra income they can generate is going to be good for them.
Oh, Divine gets He dies in there thinking that he got the ratio onto Agni, but still went on to Weave. Still gets the kill though, does Gruff. But it's just 247 on this rotation, trying to get a kill on Divine, punish the aggression, and they should be able to do so, and there it is, the Impale gets the kill.
Avant playing very confidently at the moment and pretty actually overconfident. A great ultimate there from Rob Diggity off the knock-up from Gruff. Sets themselves up for a kill, but 2 kills to Legacy that really they shouldn't have got, and it looks like only good at solo. Might solo out El Chocos here over by the right-hand side. Mid-camps, Liquid Renegades here. Great Fear No Evil saves the life of his solo laner for now. Only good at solo, still looking for the kill over the wall with the pin and gets it onto El Chocos. Only good at solo. Showing up here with his Erlang Shen.
And there comes the taunt spam, and Liquid Renegade fails to defend this solo laner. He's not got anything really now to defend against Liquid Renegade, but he's doing a massive damage ultimately with his basic attack thanks to the pin, and there's a small weakness as well, and down comes the rotation. Legacy, they may be 1 player down, but they're playing as if they're 1 player up.
I only got a solo there with a little bit of BM over the corpse of Liquid Renegade. He earned it in that engagement there, successfully fought 2v1 and got 2 kills for his team.
And Avant Garde, they have the advantage, they have the power play. And they're the ones throwing it away by constantly going too aggressive, constantly trying to force stuff that they don't need to force. You're 1 player up. The lead will come naturally. Only go to solo. He's going to fall down. The taunt spam is just a bit too much. And Avant Garde, they want recompense.
Right-hand side tier 1 tower should fall down here. The amount of people from Avant Garde that have moved over. Rob Diggity is at the speed buff, taking that one out by himself. Liquid Renegade in the mid lane, taking away HS247, splitting on the left-hand side, just trying to get himself some more experience. Avant Garde turn away from the tier 2 tower on the right-hand side, take away some mid-camps, and now they look like they want the tier 1 tower in mid lane, and they should get this one as well. So a lot of objectives falling to Avant Garde. And you mentioned it just before, this lead should come naturally to them given the fact that they are upper member. They don't need to keep forcing these engagements that they're either trading or just giving kills away to Legacy.
Yeah, if they wait 5 minutes, they'll be about 1,000 gold for the better. If they wait 10 minutes, they could be 3,000. Who knows? It just depends on how much they want to force, how much they want to go aggressive, and they don't really need to. They can rotate as a 4, and they'll always have a man advantage. HS247 are going to be feeling the full force of that one over this left-hand side. The blink for Weave just not in time. Divine already picking up the Hunter.
Rob Diggity as well goes in with our airstrike ultimate. Weave.
He's back!
Yeah. Oh, Shred's back. There you go. Level 2 Ratatuska. Let's see what he can do. Agony rotates in here, gets a flame wave off onto Divine. Looking to get some more damage down is the Raja, but not going to find it. Bomb. Doing some damage to Gruff here. There's the Taiko drums. Taunts in Agony. Gets 3 taunts in. Tries to get the final bit of damage off, but not there. Fear No Evil comes through. Looking for the Agni. But Agony doing so much damage in return to Liquid Renegade. He's living somehow behind the tower. Weave picks up the kill. Gruff, though, gets the return onto Agony. Agony gets another kill onto Gruff as well as he walks back into tower range. Divine is here as well. He might fall down to archers, but he manages to teleport over the wall. Only got a solos here. Rob Diggity nowhere to run. The Erlang Shen gets another kill. And Legacy Esports have tied up the kill count. Shred trying to do damage on this right-hand side. Eagles Rally, though, will find him. Down falls Shred quickly after he returns to the game.
That's just bullying right there, El Chuckles. Come on, give the man a break. He's just reconnected after a long DC. Let him farm a bit. I mean, that's what I'd be saying if I was in a casual. This is competitive play. You force advantages. You press the nail down even harder, and you try and get this tower.
So Shred is 2,000 gold behind. Not the worst scenario, It's pretty bad, though. It's pretty bad. If you look at the graphs between the teams, 6,200 experience, 4,800 gold. Now is the time Avant needs to start taking proper engagements. They need to... so far, the engagements that they've had have been pretty sloppy, or they've been on the fly, taking advantages of certain situations, or at least attempting to. Now is the time where they really need to set up properly and get fights that are set up or that are communicated properly across the teams. We've seen the fight under that tier 1 tower on the left-hand side was very sloppy and disorganized. Can't afford that now that Shred is back. Because even though he's only level 3 Ratatoska, make that level 4, still provides a little bit of damage, still provides a little bit of CC. So More has been stacking up in the favor of Legacy OC, and thus far, they've been going pretty even. Weave blinks in, knocks up 3 members there. Idivine forced to go into the Taiko drums, bursting down HS247, hits him with the last strike, but he's still alive, and now El Chuckles bangs on him with the bludgeon there. Weave taking a lot of damage here as well. Idivine might fall down. Eagles Rally doesn't stun anyone out, as Agony picks up the kill onto Idivine. Weave running away from Liquor Renegade and Rob Diggity, but can't quite get away under the tower. Liquor Renegade picks up the kill, only got a solo, falls down to Gruff. And now Agony doing what he can. He stuns out 2 members, dashes away, but he's still too close to Legacy to avoid the kill. El Chuckles gets himself another kill, and now Avant start up the Gold Fury.
Shred has Wrath. He's the hero that Legacy needs. He can come in and steal this. I believe that he just needs to secure farm. He needs to let this Gold Fury go. And that's exactly what he's going to do. Avant get the Gold Fury. They get themselves an even bigger advantage than they had before. But Shred, he gets his speed buff, and that's all that matters.
So right there, Avant-Garde countered off the engagement from Legacy, and they were all grouped, they're all ready to go. And that's the type of engagement I was talking about that they needed. Even though they're the ones to initiate, they were all there in position communicating as a team. And that's where Avant's real strength is their communication, their ability to play as a team. Before, the engagements had just been kind of like one person saying, oh, let's fight here, or, let's go in. I'm facing, just a Sylvanas under a tower. Rob Diggity looking like he might get soloed out here by HS247, but Gruff rotates over and saves the life of his AD carry. As I was harping on about a bit before, that's the type of engagement Avant-Garde really needs to have now and in the future up against Legacy, where they're all there and ready to go.
So the build coming out from Agony and the build coming out from Idivine, I would have said looked at more plays on each other. As Agony on this Agony, you like to do a bit of damage, but you can also therefore a bit of CC potential with your Noxious Fumes and your Meteor combination. And speaking of Agony, you could be getting caught out here. Liquor Renegade and Idivine just grouping up on this right-hand side. But Raijin there for the damage, instead has gone for the cooldown reduction, and Agony's gone in for the penetration build, going up into a Book of Thoth next. And Agony's not a god that needs that mana.
Exactly, his ultimate costs 0 mana. He could be looking for an especially early Soul Reaver. I doubt that's the case. Shred actually using an ultimate here, engages knock-up from Weave as well. Down come the from Agony. Gruff knocks up 2 as well. Shred taking a lot of damage. Taiko drums coming through from Idivine. He actually steals away the red buff here. Only Got a Solo is doing so much work here. Great taunt there into the damage from HS247, and Only Got a Solo gets the kill. Idivine gets returned onto HS247. Only Got a Solo is full HP here, gets knocked up, but he's doing a lot of damage to Idivine. The firebomb off the mark, but the stun is good from Agony. Eagles rally from El Chuckles. Great knock up there from Only Got a Solo, saves the life of his support, but Only Got a Solo might be in trouble here. Idivine stunned in place, forced the Sanctuary away. The damage, El Chuckles 3 levels up over Ogre, gets the kill under the tier 2 tower, and now Avant looking for more damage, looking for more kills onto Agony, but instead choose to disengage.
I like the engage coming up with Shreddy. He may only been level 7 at the time, but he's the one going aggressive. He's the one who can make the play still happen, and he's the one who's evading a speed buff, and he's getting himself back into this game quite nicely. He was about 3,500 gold down. He's now only 2,200 gold behind Liquor Renegade, and the farming potential for Avant-Garde has just slowed down significantly as they realize that they're on a clock right now to try and end this game before it then becomes back into a 5v5.
12,000 experience and 8,000 gold, though, are a bit of a hurdle to overcome. The disparity between every single member of Legacy is pretty incredible to behold. Between every single member of Legacy and their opponents on Avant, I should say, the 2,200 gold difference between Ogre and El Chuckles, 2,400 between Shred and Liquid Renegade, 1,000 between Agony and Idivine, 1,500 between the supports, and about 1,000 between the 80 carries. So, while Shred might have DC'd, he's actually roughly on par with the rest of his teams in terms of how much they are down. And that's very harmful, because if it was just Shred behind, the rest of his team could have engagements where they do come off successfully. But the fact that the whole team is down is really detrimental to Legacy.
Yeah, and the total damage coming out from the teams right now, it's not too great either. And Raijin's still at the top, even with his weird build, but the rest of the team from the Legacy, they're still doing quite a bit of damage on her, though, at the very bottom. That's the main concern for me. Only got a solo in a lot of trouble, and he's only one dead so far. Engaged from Shred, he's level 9, he needs to get out of there.
Dashing away, Avant, though, forced to back away as well from the damage coming out of Agony.
And Agony's just going to dive away back underneath his tower a bit more. As Avant, they really want to get this structure on his right-hand side, but that's also forcing an engagement in the mid lane. As Rob taking just showing away Hitches 247, we've forced to defend the tower against Liquid Renegade. They're spreading their forces right now, Avant, to try and force some more objectives. They're going to get this right-hand side tier 2 for it.
Might even look for a fight under the tier 2 tower in the mid lane as well. They're all above about 75% HP. Only Good at Solo has just respawned. Actually, look at this Shred and Agony flanking around behind Avant. They might be able to find a good engagement here if Shred can get off a nice stun. Weave blinks in, knocks up, a bomb comes down from Agony, but Artivine just barely manages to get himself away. Shred doing what damage he can, but it's not enough in the end. Agony dashing in very aggressively. HS gets a kill onto Liquid Renegade, so Legacy actually turning this one around here, but Shred not tanky enough, too low level here to stay in the fire for long. And El Chuckles gets the kill, tries to get a second. Great knock up there from Rob Diggity, saves the life of El Chuckles. Good knock up from Gruff as well. The taunt in from Only Good at Solo. They could find Gruff here with the slow coming out from HS247. Artivine doing so much damage. Tycho drums come through. He's looking for HS, where Agony bursts him down with bombs. Avant, it's falling apart at the seams here now. They get a tower, but Legacy gets some return kills.
And they can look to get towers themselves right now, can Legacy. They may have been 4 versus 5, but they are fighting as a full 5-man unit right now. Rob Diggity by himself, going in aggressively. He's taking a lot of damage for it. Nearly gets a kill onto Agony. But right now, Avant, they need to refocus. They need to take a breath. They need to make sure that they're fighting as a 5-man unit. Otherwise, Legacy will get back into this game and possibly embarrass them.
The lead, though, I feel like it's just going to be too much for Legacy, because we're starting to get to the stage of the game where, you know, your Raijin, he's got the Obsidian Shard online, he's got the last artifact just then, he's going to be getting into the Rod of Tahuti. It's just getting to that stage where it just feels like it's too late. Like, the level advantage, yes, it's been great for Avant thus far. It's been good for Avant thus far, but they've still been low enough levels where Shred can still have a little bit of an impact. But now they're heading towards the stage of the game where Shred's not doing anything.
Yeah, well, right now, Legacy, they still managed to take fights. They still managed to win engagements, despite the fact they are this massive deficit. If they let this Gold Fury go, however, I can see Avant just not being able to lose this game. If Legacy managed to steal this, that could signal the beginning of the comeback and the beginning of the demise of Avant. But there's no engagement, no thought about going for this Gold Fury, taken away by Avant completely. And now the gold difference is well over that 10,000 gold mark. It's just over 11,000.
Definitely a staged game. You'd be thinking about, okay, this is we're probably not going to win this one. I mean, they probably thought that as soon as Shred DC'd and couldn't make it back. But it's starting to get to the stage where, even, you know, despite these engagements, they're still losing out on objectives. They're losing out on Gold Furies. They're losing out on towers. They're just managing to start to secure some buffs, but that's only because of Vanguard's pressuring their tier 2 tower in the mid lane. So starting to get to the stage where it might be too late. Agony takes so much damage there from a Gruff El Chuckles combination. Liquid Renegades around the back here as well. Shred trying to get an engagement in here in the middle. Liquid Renegade picks up Agony. We falls down to El Chuckles. Shred just juking around Idivine and some minions, but you know, Avant's not too worried about him. He's not going to do anything. 2 members of Legacy down now, and Avant pressuring the middle Phoenix.
And there we go. They grouped up as a 5. They pushed the objectives as a 5, and they got a free fight for it. Exactly what needed to happen. They get a free payment for it as well. Only going to solo. He may have his 9 tons blessing on him, giving him a heal, but he's forced to use a purification on a solo laner.
It's a bit odd to see. I guess the amount of CC coming out from Avant warrants it. Everyone on Avant has some form of CC, and I suppose that with Shred gone, he just really needed to play safe when he was at level 12 and didn't need to, and tried to avoid getting picked as much as possible.
Under normal circumstances, I would say this is a weird pickup, but given the DC and how far they got put behind Bayon, I'd say, okay, it's kind of warranted. They need to make sure that everybody is alive for as long as possible, otherwise the fights just aren't going to be winnable. On this left-hand side, a bit of a chase coming out from Legacy, trying to make sure that Avant do not back safely. They could potentially get a pick-off on one of them, as 2 members have already gone away. El Chuckles, Gruff, and Rob Diggity, they're still yet to back.
I want to check the gold in hand clear before they back, and yeah, it looked like everyone had around about 2,000 gold there in hand. Idivine picked up that Rod of Tahuti, so he's going to be hitting like a truck in his next engagement. Liquid Renegade has got him started up some crit to go along with his passive. He's got a lot of penetration online as well with the Brawler's Beat Stick and the Jotun's Right. The healing debuff coming out from that Brawler's Beat Stick, I feel, is going to be super effective against Legacy, given their comp with a Sylvanas and heal coming out from the Erlang Shen as well. There was a curse picked up by Gruff. The Brawler's Beat Stick is really effective, especially if he's going after Weave. And that's sustained while it's been decent for Legacy. Hasn't won them any fights, but it's definitely kept them in fights longer than Avant would have liked. Fire Giant now started up as El Chuckles dives onto Weave in the backline here. He's already about 50% HP as Rob Diggity is present now and chunking him down. Before Weave can even get his ultimate off, he's dead. Bombs raining down from Agony, dashes away. Nowhere to run from the Eagles rally. Shred jumps in, gets a stun, but El Chuckles still gets the kill. Airstrike comes through. Shred managed to get up onto the roots of Yggdrasil and dives down into the right-hand side, trying to save his teammate. Only good at solo. Great Fear No Evil from the Renegade picks up the solo laner of Legacy. A surrender vote has started as now Avant-Garde not even bothering with the Fire Giant, just pressuring down the right-hand side. Everyone dead, but HS247 uses his Sanctuary to immune the damage, but Avant just passing straight by this Phoenix, and now they turn their sights to it, get it down pretty quickly. Weaver's respawn, but this should be the game here between these two teams. Actually, Avant looking to back off here, actually.
The back off right now, it's warranted. The respawn time is coming out from the rest of the members. Means that they can't really get this time down too quickly, and it could be a risk if they do try and take it.
Avant, though, wisely taking this away from Legacy Esports. Just, you know, it's not even about getting ahead anymore. It's just preventing any avenue of return from Legacy. Shred has gone into a Shifter Shield rather than a Void Shield, just a more cost-effective option, I suppose, or perhaps a misclick. Given the circumstances of the game, that's understandable. It does give him a little bit of power and a little bit of protection, but overall Void Shield is definitely more worth. Fire Giant at about 25% HP. Wrath online for Liquid Renegade does take that one away. 2 Phoenixes down. Fire Giant on hand for Avant-Garde. Forces spread out. This is looking like it's going to be game, with Legacy going to be the loser. Rob Diggity picks up a kill onto Only Good at Solo, and now Avant searching for the Titan.
It's always a shame when a DC defines a game, but unfortunately it's exactly what's happened this time with Shred. He's going to be falling down once more. El Chuckle just bullying him every single time he's shown his face around the map. With right and mid Phoenixes already down, Fire Giant already around the belts of Avant-Garde, and we've also taken a spell. This is going to be a GG. Avant-Garde tied the series 1-1. Bit of an unconvincing performance from them overall.
Yeah, Fear No Evil comes down. Titan 50% HP. Chuckles gets the kill onto HS. Titan falls down. Avant take that split in the series. Really, that second game was a lot closer than it needed to be. It really should have been more of a one-sided affair, and relatively speaking, it was. But overall, a lot of those engagements coming out from Avant-Garde were very sloppy, and Legacy did very well 4v5 situation to keep the game as close as it was.
Well, Avant-Garde, they managed to get a win, and they managed to tie the series. And it's all important points that are coming out right now, and Legacy, they can count themselves unlucky. The DC wasn't what was needed at the time, and it just defined that second game. Potentially they could have won it because of the fact that Avant-Garde they didn't play particularly well.
We are joined now by the captain and solo laner of Legacy Esports, Only Good at Solo, and he's made his return to the solo lane, so I don't have to yell at him about his name anymore. Ogre, yeah, that 4v5 was a bit rough, but the first game seemed like the old Legacy we were used to from last split. Talk to us a little bit about the role swap and how things are with the team at the moment.
I think we're better now. This role swap was... We thought the role swap was going to be worse for a short term and better long term, but I think Shred and I both played well, as you saw in our first match, and
Alrighty.
Yeah.
So the 4v5, that was rough. What was kind of the comms like between the team? What was the mindset like while you guys were missing Shred?
Well, as soon as Shred left, I didn't expect Avant to go as tryhard, I guess I could say, as they did when, like, 4-man evading speed and killing me, you know? But when Shred left, we just, like you said, we tried to just keep farming, but Shred, yeah, he was DC'd for so long, it kind of got to the point where all we could really do was just try, because it was pretty over.
Yep.
I guess. Still solo chuckles, you know.
So at LAN, obviously you guys struggled. What have you done in the off season to fix that and to look forward to the next LAN? Kind of what steps are you guys taking or have taken to have yourselves ready for that next event?
Well, at LAN, our problem was communication mainly, so we're just working on communication and things with the team to just get us playing as well as we can for LAN. Yep.
Awesome. Andy, any questions for our guests?
Just one. How did it feel to solo LAN MVPL Chuckles a few times?
I don't know, I got used to it, but I don't know, it's just another player really. Kiki's more fun.
And before we let you go, do you have any shout-outs you'd like to give?
Shout out to Shred's internet. Also Shred not knowing how to use the computer is great, because he might have been able to connect faster, but we lost. Shout out to Shred for playing well in the first game, I guess, for being good at jungle. Shout out to anyone who wants to play Xingtian's Mountain with me, since no one wants to play with me.
Aww.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you very much, Ogre, for joining us. We'll let you go now. We're going to go to a short break, but next we come back with a relegations rematch. Alpha Sydney up against Royalty. Royalty took down Alpha Sydney 2-1 in relegations. Can Alpha Sydney flip the script, or will Royalty finally show up here in the OPL? We'll have to wait and see. Don't go anywhere.